podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
The moon is on the rise. The fairy families gather for the ritual of ascendancy. It is time to renew alliances and appoint a new queen, which could be you. Build an alliance among the fairy families. Every fairy wants to be on your council, and they offer their powers to aid you. Use those powers to gather a fairy from each family. Be careful, more is not always better. Unless you shoot the moon and build the greatest fairy force. Unleash the power of the fairy world. Sound easy? Well, fairies don't stay in one alliance for very long. They tend to be fickle.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of Fickle, a fairy board game featuring the art of Amy Brown that's currently or about to be live on Kickstarter. And today we're lucky enough to be joined by the designer and mastermind behind this game. Is that right, Glenn? Is that how you fall in line with Fickle?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Designer. Sure.
Not mastermind, just designer?
Yeah, I'm more humble than that.
Oh boy, there you go. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. We really appreciate it, Glenn.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Now, before we jump into everything that's great about your game, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games, Glenn?
Like modern tabletop games. Let's see. Many years ago, a friend of mine handed me a deck of Magic cards and said, "Hey, check this out." Played it for a while, stopped playing. Played it for a while, stopped playing. And then later, I'd say it was at work. A friend of mine had lunchtime gaming and introduced me to Dominion, and that really oh wow, this between Dominion and Catan is pretty much introduced me to the modern gaming. It's like, wow, this is incredible. This is a new way of doing games. So ever since, I've been hooked.
Cool. I've yet to play Dominion, but I really like the deck building games and whatnot.
It's it's every once in a while something just comes up and defines a new genre, and that was one right there.
Most definitely. Did you start collecting them, or you just play other people's games, or how's that gone?
Oh, I mean, a little of both. I mean, I love playing whatever. I mean, I have my wall of games, and I love. I'm an omni gamer at this point. I love everything from the light fillers to Twilight Imperium all day game. Whenever I get the chance.
Awesome. Yeah, we just picked that up for my wife for Mother's Day.
A Mother's Day Twilight Imperium. Awesome. Oh, man. That's going to be great.
So we'll have to see. Hopefully it'll get to the table sooner than not. But yeah, we have a hard time getting stuff to the table. Just there's so many games on our shelf. Have you played all your games?
I wish I could say I have. I definitely have a stack of games I haven't played yet, and then also the stack of games I've played once and can't wait to play again,
Oh, there you go. So what about, can you tell us one of each of those? What's one game you're looking forward to playing, and then another game that you've played and are looking forward to playing?
So let's see. One I've had sitting on my shelf for a while that I have not played is Battle Stations. I've been wanting to get a group together to try that. I've had it for a year, and I'm like, I want to get a group together to play this. And one that I've played once and is hard to get back is Vast, and that's, yeah.
Yeah, we've got the boxes of that. I have yet to get that to the table. It seems like a big game, isn't it, the Vast?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, and plus it's a hard teach because you essentially have to teach 5 games, for 5 players. Each one is a different mini game happening that all interact. So, I'm also often the one who teaches the games in my groups, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to explain what this is, and it's a hard teach, but Really, really, really interesting stuff.
I usually rely on my the leader of my game group. That's where I usually learn my games. What about his other game, Root? Have you played that one?
Yes, yeah, that's been fun.
Is that the same difficulty in teaching? Because that's on our shelf as well.
I'd say that one, I fortunately did not have to teach that one. It actually has a good setup where it steps you through essentially your first turn to get the flavor of what you're doing. In all the roles. So it's like, pre-programmed turns, when you play it for real, you don't have to follow that, but it gives you, like when the person was teaching it was basically saying, well, we're just going to do this, and so you can understand how the mechanisms work. So I think it's an easier teach.
And word on the street is you don't just like to play them, I guess, but word on the street is you recently created a game. What can you tell us about Fickle, a fairy board game?
Well, in short, Fickle, the one-sentence thing is, Fickle is a game of building an alliance among mischievous fairy families, and it features the art of Amy Brown. The longer explanation, let's see. So each family has a unique power that enables you to improve your alliance and thwart your opponents. Your goal is to build the strongest alliance in 5 rounds. And let's see, each round you're going to add 1 fairy to your alliance, resolve its power, and then at the end of 5 rounds, whoever has the highest favor score is the winner. Pretty straightforward. It's a quick teach and pretty easy, except how the powers interact. The fairies tend to move around and switch alliances a lot. So thus the name Fickle.
Okay, and am I trying to make alliances with the other players or with the AI, or how's that look?
Oh, so each player is trying to build their own alliance. You're playing with the same set of fairies, so you play with 5 families, and ideally what you have in front of you is a very diverse alliance. So the way the scoring works, if you have 1 of each from each of the families, you get to score all of them. But if you start duplicating too much, more is not better. They start counting against you. If you're showing favoritism more towards one family over another.
And it looks like we'd have to have another player, but for say me and you and somebody else sat down to play Fickle, what's my turn going to look like, Glenn?
Okay, so this is a fun part that I like about it. The way you choose, so like I said, each round you're going to play 1 card, but how you choose it is really interesting in that you're dealt 3 cards, but they're not yours. You get to look at all 3, stack them however you want, and put them down in front of your neighbor. And while that simultaneously your neighbor is doing that for you, and you just pass it all around, and then it becomes sort of a press your luck, where everyone looks at the top card and look at and think, is this the card I want to play this round? And if they think not, they must first discard it to look at the next card. And then they look at the second card and like, is that good or bad? If they pass on that second card, they must take the third card. So it's not it's somewhere between card drafting, I split you choose, and press your luck.
Yeah, I was going to say something like it looks like, so in essence, I'm drafting my team, next person next to me, their pile, it sounds like.
Right. So it's the choice. So like the first part is stacking. You're stacking the deck for your neighbor, and the second part of it is a press your luck. But as opposed to normal press your luck, where it's just random. You shuffle a deck and you start going until you get one that busts. It is set up by your neighbor, so it allows for a lot of double think. You stack these for me, and you start looking at them a little suspiciously and going, did you put a good card there, or maybe that was a bad? What's that? What's that last card? You really have to think about it. So it's kind of fun when you get into the mind of your neighbor, especially if you have friends who know they have to look at all the cards. They have to look at that last card. They can't pass. They have to look at the last card. Just put the worst one on the bottom. It's great.
There you go. Awesome. And so with that, do I do that for 5 rounds then? And then
Yep, 5 rounds. You're gonna play five. You start off with 2 cards in front of you. That's your starting score. But then you just 5 rounds, play 5 cards, and then score. And it's a super quick game, which is nice. You can teach it. It's no problem to have a learning game when you teach it the first time. But halfway through the first game, the whole stacking and picking thing kind of clicks. It can be subtle. It can be kind of confusing the first time you try to just straight up explain it. But then when people start actually doing it, they're like, oh, wow, okay, I get it. And then they immediately want us to play a game. Okay, let's do it for real now. All right. Because the whole game is about 15 minutes.
Okay, and right now it comes with how many families does it come with initially?
So we're going to see with the Kickstarter. I think we're hopefully going to hit 16, but you only play with 5 at a time. So you can use any 5, and depending on how you put them together, there's a whole lot of combinations of cards, and the gameplay. The rules of the game don't change, but the flavor of it changes depending on which ones you put together.
Yeah, it says as soon as we get the 12 families, that gives us somehow 792 ways to play Fickle.
Right. Yep. Yeah. If you do like the 5 factorial, for 12, you get 700, and then we get if we get up to 16, it's over 4,000 combinations. Yeah, but again, that may be it sounds kind of high. It doesn't feel like 4,000 combinations, but still, if you get a dozen uniquely different feels out of it, I think that's still a lot of replayability.
Awesome, for sure. And so, if I understand correctly, so we go through those 5 rounds or whatnot, and if I'm the one that has a card from each family, I win, or how does winning look?
Oh, yeah. So each family has a range of values in them. They all have the same ability. Like one family has you play this card and it allows you to steal a card from somebody else. And each card has a number on it that range from 1 to 5. And so if you have a single one of a family, like let's say you have a 4 dismiss in front of you, that family scores 4 points. But if you start duplicating, let's say, oh man, I really like that steal ability, and you keep playing, you steal and steal, and it's like, oh wait a minute, now I'm duplicating my cards, which then start canceling out points. So the way the scoring goes, ideally you have 1 of each, and you score the value from 1 to 5. If you have 2 from the same family, that family scores 0. If you have 3 or 4 from the same family, the highest value one counts as negative points. So if your first one you play is worth 2 points, it's worth 2 points. Play another one, whatever value, that family becomes 0. And then say the third card you put down there of the same family is a 4, that family is now worth negative 4 points. So as the game evolves, about halfway through the game, there's a shift that happens. You're trying to gain points, and they're like, oh wait, no, I need to watch out not to take some cards. Things that I thought were really good early is now I need to avoid them. So as you're playing them, what is good for me may be bad for you, and vice versa. It's not necessarily good cards or bad cards. It depends on the current board state of what's good and what's bad for you.
Okay, so each family has different cards with different values. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so each family has a range from 1 to 5.
Okay, I understand. So that's awesome. It sounds pretty fun and quick. And like you said, there's a lot of replayability, and the art looks amazing. What else has Amy Brown done previously?
Well, she's been doing. She's best known for her fairy art. She's been doing this for 20 years, and she has just an amazing backlog of beautiful art. And she's got quite a following, and people are coming up and seeing the games oh my God, that's Amy Brown. How did you get Amy Brown on what? It's like, wow, okay, that's cool. We got a good choice here on the art. So yeah, she has a very distinct style. It's beautiful. But that's pretty much what she does. That's what she's known for.
There we go. Awesome. And is this your first game to design, Glenn?
Well, it was the first one getting published. A few years ago, I was just going to design one game, and just for, as a creative project. But once I got into the game design community, it is wonderful. I just want to hang out with these people because, You look at it like, okay, let's see. They're 1, creative, 2, pretty intelligent, and 3, really passionate about doing fun things. Yeah, I want to hang out with these people, so I just kept designing more games. And then now I've kind of reached the point where I'm going to try and, I guess I'm making them, I'm try signing some, Yeah, so this is my first.
Awesome. How does that whole process look, getting it signed or whatnot? How did that go down with Bard Games, if you don't mind us asking?
Let's see. So it was like 2 years ago now. And after at Gen Con, so I've 2 years ago, I decided I'm going to really try to pitch some games to get published, and I made a small version of this. Before it was Fickle, it was a different theme, but I kept it simple because I kind of figured it was. A lot of the advice kept getting don't get it too involved in the art, or they're probably going to retheme. They're going to want to do new art anyway. So I made like a very simple version of this, and that didn't have the shuffle building aspect. Just like here's a sample of like how it plays, and printed up like a dozen copies, really cheap, like Game Crafter, and pitched to a bunch of publishers. And it was easy to have a sample. Here, take it, play it. It's a quick game. And then a few months afterwards, Brandon from Bard, came back to me and said, we played a lot and we love it. So then he's assigned, and then they looked at it and it's like, so like the game, can you retheme it with this art? And then showed me Amy Brown's art, and like, oh, that's gorgeous stuff. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'll take take my game, make it gorgeous. I'm loving it. So
awesome. Besides theme, when you were play testing, besides the theme, was there anything else you guys had to scratch because it just wouldn't work?
There's a lot of subtle changes that happened over time. You started off the podcast saying like you call yourself a mastermind. It's like, I'm probably more. I think I'm a big believer in playtesting. You playtest a ridiculous amount and see how people go with it, and kind of observe. Like if somebody's using something wrong, it's not wrong. It's how they use it. It's how they understand it. So I think it's more tweaks. Some of the tweaks got changed due to theme. Others are just tweaked because whoa, people want to do it this way. They seem to do it that way naturally. Okay, fine. We'll go that direction and try it.
There you go. Did you do a lot of play testing with Brandon once Bard Games picked it up, or how did that go?
Well, we're not near. Well, we're near each other, but not near enough to play much. So there's a lot of play test and design groups in the San Francisco Bay Area, and so a lot of us will meet. Like it's almost a weekly basis at different locations, and we'll play each other's games and give some feedback, and go to conventions, and it's just invaluable to get people to play, and just try it out.
Cool. Have you ever played or play tested with Tate Wu?
Oh yeah.
Cool. I like his games from what I've played so far.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think if I met him like at my first convention. I'm trying to think back, like at PacificCon a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago. I think I met him then. But anyway, it's so funny. Like all these people who I met casually, like when I first started getting into the design groups, it's like, oh, wow, I played your stuff like 3 years ago. That's awesome. And now it's like seeing everyone coming out with their games now is just kind of fun.
Awesome. Did you get to experience Promenade, which I believe he still has up on Kickstarter?
I have not got a chance to play that one now.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
But I'm looking forward to it. I love, like I said, I love Dominion, and that's deck building, and so I'm really anxious to try it out.
Cool, me too. I'm glad it came back. I was worried for a minute because the last campaign didn't fund, and he said he wasn't going to relaunch, but luckily he did that. So I'm excited that now looks like it's going to reach its funding goal.
Yeah, he's doing the special edition for the fans, and I think that's great. Because you put your heart into it, and you try to make something really good, and I'm glad it's going to be available.
Yeah, you and me both. Now, when it comes to Fickle, a fairy board game featuring Amy Brown's art, why should my audience come and look at the Kickstarter page? Sorry, let me start over. So, Glenn, when it comes to Fickle, a fairy board game featuring the art of Amy Brown, what makes your game pop as one my audience should come to check out the Kickstarter page when it launches, or if it's already on there and they're listening? What makes it pop as one my audience should check out the Kickstarter, and if they like what they see, back it?
Let's see. Like, I think we covered, like, I really love the choice. And I think that's the choice mechanism is really, like I said, it's somewhere between the stack deck where it's between drafting, split choose, and press your luck. And also the fact of the shuffle building, I think, is a really nice long playability there. But really it comes down to look at the art. I mean, like, it's like that alone. I mean, you kind of want to look at it and you're like, I'd like to just have that just for the art. That makes it really pop. I was sold when I first saw the art, much less the gameplay. I knew the gameplay, and then I saw the art, and I was like, okay, yes, this is awesome.
Most definitely. And we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes so they can come check out the Kickstarter, so they can see the beautiful art and the awesome gameplay as well. Now, we don't want to keep you all night, so minus coming there to the San Francisco area to stalk you personally, how would people go about keeping up with what you're doing, Glenn, both with Bard games and other games you may have going on in the future?
Well, first off, we've got to do the Kickstarter plug for Fickle. So look up Kickstarter Fickle. May 21st is when it launches. And then bardgames.fun. That's BARD games.fun is the publisher. Me personally, if you're on Twitter, do I'm at headcraftedpix, PIX. So and my own private thing is Headcrafted Games, but that's that's just a dumping site for my miscellaneous thoughts on game design there.
Interesting. That's Headcrafted Picks. That's kind of interesting. Did that just go with your games or whatnot, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, the whole idea is like, it's like handcrafted, but it's more in your head.
Well, like I said, we don't want to keep you all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us tonight, Glenn, to talk all about Fickle, a fairy board game featuring the art of Amy Brown. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on. Oh, and Brandon asked me to mention the giveaway stuff.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be doing a giveaway with the Giveaway Geek. What are exactly you guys giving away?
So we have a few things. So previous games, Brandon has Pocket Generals, which is his own game. We have a Sherlock Holmes that it was a work with Dynamite Games, co-publishing with Brandon, and we're going to give away a Fickle playmat as well. A nice bonus add-on for Fickle.
Awesome. Yeah, you didn't tell me there was playmat, so there's a playmat for the game as well?
Yeah, they're doing some extra stuff, add-on stuff. So you can get the base game if you want just the base game, but there's also some nice stuff if again, it's Amy Brown art, hey, great. let's get some nice playmats out there.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it doesn't help that we're suckers for playmats in our family.
Look out.
Yeah, pretty much. And so we'll make sure we leave links for the Kickstarter especially and all the other stuff in the show notes, as well as if you're listening to this or whatnot, you can go to our show notes, and at the very bottom you can just enter straight from our show notes into that giveaway. So there will be 3 winners. Is that right, Glenn?
However you want. It's I don't know if you want to do all 3 or to 1 or give away individually the 3. I don't know.
We'll make sure we'll go ahead and get that set up with Brandon or whatnot. But yeah, so make sure you go ahead and jump on over to our show notes or thegiveawaygeek.com. And most definitely, you want to make sure you jump over to check out Fickle, a fairy board game featuring the art of Amy Brown that'll be on Kickstarter. I believe the 21st of May through it's in June sometime. I forget what he said.
Yeah, I actually don't know. It's probably going to be 4 weeks. It's probably 4 weeks.
Yeah, middle of June or so. Yeah, middle or first part of June. So yeah, definitely jump on over and check those out. But like I said before, we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us to talk about Fickle, a fairy board game, Glenn.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem.
Now, Let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Let's take a walk, not to the corner store, but to Kickstarter Corner.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leafs computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leafs.
Did you catch our episode on Tuesday the 22nd of April? No? Well, go back and give it a listen. We sat down with Kirsty and Sherman to talk all about Endless Realms, Tome of Spirits, which sounds like an awesome resource to add to your role-playing game arsenal. As well, I really love the art. You can easily access the interview by scrolling down near the bottom of their Kickstarter campaign page. Give it a listen. Check out the Kickstarter and then back it before Thursday the 23rd of May. You probably played Memory as a kid, but did it really have any risk in it? That's what I thought. Well, Zoomer Games has filled that niche for you with Dino Dig, Risky Sights. It's a risky dinosaur set collection game in which you've got to ask yourself, what will you dig up? Dino Dig Risky Sights is a risk and chance set collection game where players dig to find the most valuable dinosaur fossils in a scorpion-infested site. Think Minesweeper, but no mines, dinosaurs, and scorpions will be in it instead. Players will be forced with risk versus reward decisions and can use probability to find their missing pieces. Each player also has a toolbox full of helpful equipment to guide them along the way. Will you risk digging for valuable dinosaurs and maybe face scorpions? Or will you play it safe and hope to win by digging for smaller fossils? Find out if you are the best paleontologist. If you're not scared of scorpions in a game, make sure you check out their campaign and back it before Monday the 3rd of June. You've played card games. You've probably played Jenga, and you might have even played Twister. Well, Charmy Dreams the cat wanted to design a whole excitement experience, so they created and launched the Mouse Stones. Fight for the Great Color Stones, in which you grab stones and ambush friends. Winners can leave their opponents in tears by winning all precious stones. Do you remember the Purdy Fire Gems from Fire Tower that was on Kickstarter a while back ago? Well, this one has lots of colorful plastic stones, 200 to be exact. It'll light up your game table and gaming experience. I want a copy for the Leaf household, and I know you will too. So make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaign and then back it before Wednesday the 5th of June. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geekfold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.